Okay, hey, I just wanted to make this video. I just got done on my trading day, and I got a lot of responses from people since I made my last video. From a lot of people that don't understand economics. Um, talking about how that's like crazy to think about that there could be an economic collapse soon. Um, what a lot of people don't understand is that what the Federal Reserve is doing um, is going to lead to another collapse because the Fed did not make the right decisions. In 2008, when we had the chance to basically, it would have the economy would have suffered probably for for over a year or two, but we would have recovered by now. As opposed to what we're going through now, which is not a recovery. It's an artificial type of economic high. It's not even an economic high because the economy is not growing. This is very interesting that some people can say that there is no problem and that the U.S. economy is fine and that we're headed in the right direction. Which a lot of people, if you understand economics, you know that the U.S. economy, what the U.S. government has been doing, is not going to lead the U.S. economy in the right direction. The Fed has created another bubble in the bond market, and this bubble in the bond market is interesting because it has taken a long time for this bubble to burst, and it's taken longer than probably the housing bubble that the Fed created. But I see the bond bubble, the bond market collapsing very soon, mainly because if the U.S. economy, like basically the Fed is going all in with their bond buying program, basically QE, and because they're going all in, they're printing a lot of money. I think it's like $85 billion a month. They're printing a lot of money, and they're buying bonds with it to keep interest rates low. So, when the economy doesn't recover because of and once the Fed policies don't work, because it's not working, it has never worked, it's not going to work, and that's what people don't understand, that this is impossible for this to work. But once once other countries realize that the U.S. is just going deeper into debt, because right now the Fed can't, the U.S. government cannot pay, could not pay the interest on its debt, on its $16 trillion debt, if interest rates went to, let's say, 4% or 5%. I think that would be like $600-700 billion in interest payments that the U.S. government would have to pay annually to its bondholders, and the U.S. government could not afford to pay that, because that would be like that would be like 1/3 of the budget. If out of $1 trillion budget, out of $3 trillion budget, if the U.S. had to start paying like $1 trillion a year, it couldn't afford to do that. The U.S. would have to print more money and just default on its debt, and it would create inflation. That would be the only solution to it, or a currency crisis, because the Fed would only have one option, is to print more money and to keep destroying the currency, and the world would stop selling U.S. stuff that we import to keep up this this phony lifestyle that we live here. Because basically we don't produce anything. We're actually losing manufacturing jobs, when at a time when we should be adding them. Like, those are the type of jobs that we need right now. We need to be making things. We don't need any more service sector jobs. We don't need any more people working in the financial sector. We don't need any more people working in restaurants. We don't need any more people working in retail. Those are all jobs that are adding to our trade deficit, and it's adding to our debt, because those people are consuming things that are being imported from other countries and stuff that we can't afford. And the Fed has created this imbalance in the economy. It has not been the free market that has done this. The Federal Reserve is responsible for whatever imbalances we have now. Like, we don't have enough savings now because of Fed policy. Interest rates are low when they should be high because of the Federal Reserve. So basically, these imbalances that are artificial, that are that are being created and they're unusual, are gonna lead to a crisis. Mainly because the Fed is basically expecting the economy not to dip back into recession. So they're betting everything on that, and they have no contingency plan if the economy does dip back into recession, which I think it will in the next, I would say in the next 2 years. I would say it's definitely going to happen within by the end of the Obama administration. I don't think there's any way of avoiding this crash. This crash is going to happen in the U.S. dollar. We are going to have a currency crisis, mainly because the Fed has made all the wrong decisions since our last crisis, and we still haven't learned, and we still have people, especially people on the left and people on Obama's side, that believe that that we should be going further into debt to keep propping up the economy, and that's going to be the death of the U.S. Because right now what's going on is Obama is doing great harm to the economy as well, with more taxes and more regulation and more things that are not good for the free market, and that it constrains job creation. It constrains wealth creation as well. And I think what's going to happen is once once we have this bond crisis, which is that the Fed won't be able to stop interest rates from going up without destroying the currency, without printing more money to buy more bonds. And once people realize that that the U.S. is a terrible investment, and that these bonds are not safe, because the U.S. just keeps going further and further and further into debt to pay for them. Like, the U.S. is paying for the it's like it's a Ponzi scheme, because the U.S. is paying for these bondholders. These bondholders are being paid with money that are being printed, not with actual money that it's being that's being collected through taxes and for for real wealth creation. The U.S. is actually printing money to pay the debt that we already have. So that's the definition of a Ponzi scheme: is that you pay your old it's not even funny, but you pay the old bondholders with with new money that you're getting from the new bondholders, and that's the definition of the government running a Ponzi scheme. And this is this is not gonna end well. And I don't think that there is gonna be much time to react to this when it does happen. I think it's gonna happen so quick, because there's an old saying in the stock market, and there's an old saying in the markets in general. Anyone that trades knows that saying. The saying is that the market takes the stairs up, and the market takes the elevator down. So that means whenever the market does crash and the bond market does crash, it's going to be it's going to happen so quick that I don't think most people won't be able to react to it, and I don't think the U.S. government won't be able to even to do anything about it. There's nothing the government can do rather than when this happened. I mean, I think the government already passed the point of no return. There's no way this debt could ever be paid back, and so, in closing, I want to say that that right now, um, if the people that are going to be hurt the most are going to be the poor, and the people that don't have any savings or don't have any gold, and they basically have no assets. Those are the people that are probably going to be out there rioting on the streets, and doing some crazy things whenever this does happen. This is going to create a panic among the in the U.S. population. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to suffer, and the prices of everything is going to go up. Because think about it, whenever we have this crisis and other people don't accept our currency in foreign trade, what's going to happen is the U.S. won't be able to import anything. Basically, the prices are going to skyrocket for everything. You won't be able to buy nothing that are, not only is your money going to be, the money that you have is going to go down, your purchasing power is going to go down in value tremendously, but the things that you are going to be able to have, the prices are going to be so ridiculous that you probably won't be able to get much for your money. And, America is going to be forced to go for austerity, and we are going to have austerity here in the U.S. It's going to be forced austerity, and there's only two things the Fed can do, and let me say this before I go. There's only two things the Fed can do when this crisis does happen. One is the Fed can, whenever we have this crisis, the Fed can print money, and they can keep trying to prop up the bond market, which will in turn create inflation. And so it's going to create a crisis anyways, because once we have inflation, that's what's going to destroy the dollar, is inflation, and the people won't be able to buy anything. And we're going to have shortages, we're going to have crisis, we're going to have probably even starvation. It's not funny. But what is funny is how people think that socialism works. That's what's funny. But this is what's going to happen is not funny. This is going to be very serious. A lot of people are going to suffer. And the third thing, the second thing that the Fed can do, is they can make the right decisions and cut and let interest rates goes up, and basically admit that they did the wrong thing, and the Fed can the Fed can admit they're wrong, and when they do that, the government can cut their budget, and we can maybe avoid a total collapse if they make the decision. But I think that's highly unlikely. I don't think anybody at the Federal Reserve, I don't think Bernanke, I don't think Obama, I don't think any of those people are going to know what to do when this crisis does happen. So, okay, well, I got to get back trading. So, this is the end of my video.